welcome to a short hearing aid video just to run you through everything associated with the residents' hearing aids. I will be showing you various things. This is a poster that is in everybody's room who has a hearing aid. So it's just a sight reminder to remove the hearing aids at night and to put them in the mornings. Also, in everybody's room that has hearing aids, there is a cleaning pack, and we'll go through this in more detail later on. If you find that something is missing or they haven't got one, please see myself or Catherine and we can restock it. Eggly also has a drying dome. This is used if a hearing aid is accidentally placed in water. We had an occasion where a resident put their hearing aid in their cup of tea and it goes in the drying zone overnight, and it does a wonderful job of drying it out, and it worked fine. So this is kept in the top drawer at the Leisure and Lifestyle desk, and it can be used by anybody, so long as you put it back when you're finished. Also, in that drawer is this little pack here. The main thing that could be used by you is this, which is a air puffer where you could clean the hearing aids with this. We'll go into that more detail later on. This is Oragel. We used it on one resident up in Coulter. It's if the hearing aid molds are too tight, and they'll just slip straight into the ears quite well. So we're not using this with any other resident at the moment, but if you need it, it's kept in this pack. First of all, we're going to start off with how to tell the left from the right hearing aid. As you can see here, the right hearing aid has red writing on it and the left hearing aid has blue. So you need to remember R for red, which means R for right. So this can also be shown on this. As you can see, the hearing aid has a red cover. So we instantly know this is for a right ear. It also has writing on it, which is in red. So I will now show you how to insert the battery. So if the hearing aid is not working correctly, there's various steps to go through before you add a new battery. There could be a blockage in the tubing, which would need to be cleaned. It could mean there's a crack in the tubing, or it could mean that there's a split up here. To tell if the battery's working, you would close it, hold it in your hand, and you should be able to hear a whistling sound. Some of the sounds are louder than others. To open up the battery, we just unhook it and you'll see the battery in here. Our hearing aids at Eggly take two different sizes. One's a bit flatter than the other. This is a very handy tool which has a little hook on the end for cleaning, a brush to clean the end of the mould, but it's also got a little magnet on the end that you can just automatically take the battery out of. As you can tell, the battery is flat on the top and rounded on the bottom. Make sure it goes in the right way, otherwise, well, one thing, it won't work, and the other thing, it could break the hearing aid. So once you've got your new battery, just pop it in. And it's very hard to see on here, but there is actually a cross on top of it, which shows that goes to the top. Then you will make sure that you close this tightly. I have found quite a few hearing aids in people's ears with this not closed. It's useless because you're just blocking their ears. So it must be closed tight. Now you'll be able to hear the sound. Cupping it in your hand. And we know it's working. Okay. As I said before, each resident who has a hearing aid has one of these posters in their room, and also they should have a cleaning kit. This cleaning kit can be found on their corkboard. Let's see what it consists of. So we have spare batteries. Now these are only to be used in case of emergencies. So if you're doing hygiene in the morning and you go to put the hearing aids in and you notice that you are not getting a whistle, it might need the battery changed and you haven't got any in your pocket, that's when you take one of these. But the most important thing for each team member is to make sure you replace what you use so it's ready for the next person. So we've got the batteries, and the batteries are changed every Wednesday on a schedule for the PCs and nurses anyway, so they should be changed once a week. The only person whose hearing aids should be changed more often is a gentleman up in Coulter. Also, there should be a couple of Elco wipes. This is to clean the molds with, so it's quite handy just to give them a little clean and get into all the nooks and crannies. And once again, if you're not carrying the Elco pads with you, you need to use these. Please go back and refill the stock. Then we have a little a brush, little end, and an actual paper clip, because this is amazing because you can get right into if there's a bit of stubborn wax, that will hook it out. So all this will be kept in the hearing aid kit. Now, to clean a hearing aid, if this tubing is nice and pliable like this, you can actually pull it apart. So if, say for instance, the hearing aid is not working properly, we'll use this one because it's got the battery in it. So you can actually, if that wasn't working, it will unscrew here, and you might be able to hear it. So we can hear the whistle, so we know it's not actually the hearing aid that's broken. So in that case, we know that there's either a blockage or a split somewhere along here. So we've removed that, we know this is working. If this wasn't working, this is where it would be sent away to Hamilton to Australian Hearing. So you can use this little thin blue piece of plastic, and that will go all the way through the hearing aid, and it will dislodge any blockages that are in there, and you can also go through this way. But this is called the hook. This also can be removed because sometimes there is blockages in there. So you can only remove it if this is pliable. A lot of the hearing aids have got older tubing and you won't be able to move it. If that happens, it could break if you're pulling the hook off. So that way you can get in a bit easier with different tools, like that. And sometimes it's right at the end. You might find a bit of wax. This has got a tiny little hook on it, and you can just hook the wax out like that. Also, it's got a brush, which you can brush it down like that. So to put it together again, this is never an easy task to make sure it's put back firmly, and then you screw it back into the hearing aid. And then it's right to go. One other way of cleaning the hearing aid is disconnect this. And as I showed you before, we've got this little puffer. It will just go in the end where the sound comes out. Don't force it. So it's just sitting in the end and you just squeeze. This will dislodge any of the blocked wax or any of the wax that's blocking the tubing. So just give it a couple of bursts and then remove it. With this hearing aid, it's actually got a little thing that you lift up. So you can use the blue plastic that's kept in the cleaning kit, and there's a hole here, and this will be fed through and come out that hole. Any bit of wax that's in there will be caught. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually a tiny little bit of wax on the end of that, and that comes through. Be sure to close that little tab up again. Now, as I said before, red is for right, blue is for left. Sometimes these type of hearing aids do not have any colours on them, but we know instantly it always has red, so obviously the other hearing aid will be for the left. Now with the batteries for this little fella, the battery cavity is underneath. You open it up. It's actually got a lip around the bottom of it, so you know that that is the bottom. It's very difficult to see. And once again, you will use this tool to pick it up and you will slot it in there, making sure that the battery cavity is closed properly. I spoke briefly about the drying dome. This is actually it here. It's from Australian Hearing. It's very simple to use. So you would place the hearing aid that's been affected by water in the dome, making sure it is plugged into the electricity and your on switch is just there, so you just give that a press. Also, you will not be alone because it comes with very detailed instructions of how to use it. And don't forget to remove the battery before placing it in the dome, and once it is dry, put a new battery in it, please. Nearly finished. I just wanted to let you know that it's quite common as you're putting the hearing aids in the residents' ears, they will whistle or screech. But once they're in the ears, they should not be doing that at all. Some of the factors could be there is a crack or a split in the tubing, the mold has not been placed in the ear correctly, or there's a build-up of wax in the resident's ear. If this happens, contact Sue Richardson, who can check the ear out. If a resident says their ear is hurting where your hearing aid goes in, just let their ears rest for a couple of days and then try again later. If they're saying it still hurts, it could be because the mold is a little bit tight. So as you're putting it in the resident's ear, just check where it's hurting and where it's tight, mark it with a texter, and it can be sent away to be filed down. Just to finish up, I wanted to say thank you very much for watching the video and making it all the way to the end. If there is any issues that Catherine or I cannot help you with, or we're not on shift when there is an issue, you can always ring Australian Hearing during work hours, and we will put the phone number up at the end of this video. Chantel, who will answer the phone, is extremely helpful and knows our residents quite well here. Just in conclusion, I wanted to remind you where the hearing aids are kept. A lot of staff carry them around in their pouches, which is excellent. They're also kept in the drawers in the clinic rooms, but if the clinic rooms don't have any, please come to the front office and we have a stock that we can give you. So thank you very much, and I'm sure that we will be doing a actual competency to show how to put the hearing aids in and take them out of the residence. So please catch up with myself or Catherine for that demonstration. Thank you.